The world centre of racing is at the centre of the ChampCar universe this week. The ChampCar iRacing series comes to Daytona International Speedway ahead of race week in the ChampCar Endurance Series. It's round 2 of the iRacing series for 2026. And we're glad you're with us. HJBC live coverage on HJBC and ChampCar Live. It's the road course at Daytona. It's famous for high speeds, slipstreaming, racing side by side on the banking, and it looks an absolute picture on iRacing tonight. A 1 hour race ahead of us in the front wheel drive touring cars. I'm David Haynes with Devin Peters and Michael Derby as we are just minutes away from getting this 1 hour race underway. Bit of a breeze blowing in from the west though, Devin.
I'd sure take the weather in Daytona this time of year than the weather up here in old Canada land, but it is a little bit windy out there, I'll give you that. I think these TCR cars are more than equipped to handle it though.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks good. We've got a great field of drivers as well. Ryan Puchtel is leading the field at the moment as qualifying has just a couple of minutes left to run ahead of Jared Collins and Lincoln Fox. Lincoln Fox is the championship leader after winning round 1 last time out at Road Atlanta. In the ChampCar iRacing series, we not only move track to track, we move car to car. We've gone from the Mazda MX-5 to these TCRs, with the Toyota GR86 yet to come this series as well. There's 4 races in each car. Keeps the drivers on their toes. It keeps them practiced across a variety of different machines. It keeps things interesting. Here is Lincoln Fox crossing the line just there and maybe slightly improving, but still remaining in the 3rd position. Navigating the now incredibly paved bus stop chicane.
Yeah, no danger available anymore in the Le Mans chicane, but that's how she goes. I was going to say it's a familiar top 5 right now. Puchtel, Collins, Fox, Fritz, and Carwile. We got Dennis Daniels in 6th spot. And then one of our newer names, Zach Robertson, running in 7th. Look good in that black and white livery. I guess getting his start in the sim. And that's really kind of what we're going for here, is making connections and celebrating the ChampCar series, aren't we, Haynes?
Yeah, for sure. So 4 different cars here. 1 Honda, 2 Hyundais, and the new Audi. Michael Chase is in the new Audi with the 4 rings on the nose, but also on the side. Apparently, I went looking on Trading Paints. That's not meant to be a British touring car homage. It's meant to be a North American touring cars homage to apparently Randy Popest's car.
That's neat. We'll see if anyone enters the vortex of death tonight.
Well, it's just vortex of danger, but I guess, at the bottom of the vortex, what's the peak that danger could ever reach?
Yeah. No, but these TCRs are good for a little bit of close racing, and they're nice and spread out right now in qualifying, but I have a feeling that once we get them going around in race conditions, they'll be nose to tail, beating and banging, bump drafting a little bit.
Those curbs are incredibly lethal through the chicane there. Someone behind Ryan Carwile exiting stage left. It's Alex Harrison, 28th at the moment. Very little time left to do anything about that. His best is a 158 flat. His previous lap was a 158.008. So again, super close.
Puckdell is a bit of a specialist in the front wheel drives. So not surprising to see him topping out the timing sheets here.
Here's how he negotiates the curbs. Not as much respect as I was maybe hoping to see, but right at the exit there, leaping. And then flat to the floor for the runs through Speedway 3 and 4. And then around to the start-finish line once again for Ryan Puckdell. He's shaping up for that pit entry though. Challenging one here at Daytona from really high speed. So that's probably qualifying done for Ryan Puckdell. 155.958, that's what everyone else has got to try and beat.
Seeing a fast lap from the likes of Ryan Carwile in 6th right now. We got Kyle Robertson on the screen, but now it's Carwile. Carwile has gone and set green sectors in the first 3, and the first one's even purple, and he's got a bit of a draft here coming down towards the Le Mans chicane, so we might be able to make a little bit of headway in our final sector. Overshoots the entry to the chicane though. He's going to pay for that. We'll see if the draft is enough to make a difference though here as it comes around the final corners.
Yeah, very tempting to overrun the entry of some of these corners, but your exit is always so critical with the long straights that you get here on the road course at Daytona. 2 big high-speed blasts on the speedway. Ryan Carwile across the start-finish line. That says 57.1, but it doesn't seem... Yeah, just 4/10 missing.
Enough. Yeah, close one for him. He was their most promising candidate, I'd say, though. Although, as I say that, Kyle Robertson, who we were looking at right at the start, was just able to set a purple sector in the first sector. I think qualifying's over for him, though. I'm not sure we got any other cars on competitive laps right now, Haynes. You seen any? Looks like David Martin's out there trolling around on his final attempt. Martin's Pinky's out guy. And I'm pretty sure, you know what, he doesn't list Daytona around his on his resume, but he's driven a lot of the other big tracks over the years. Mid-Atlanta, VIR, Road America, Road Atlanta, Mid-Ohio. So bet you he feels comfortable around a big track like this.
Well, we can watch the stopwatch. Looking to go faster than a 57.5. That's a 2:02. So not quite. Not quite.
That's always tough transitioning from the real world to the sim. And I think maybe a little bit of lap traffic didn't help. But I'd say, David Haynes, that wraps up our qualifying session.
Yes, not sure if anyone else is still on track. But the clock still has a minute. Checkered flag being fastidiously waved at the start-finish straight there, but there's very few drivers left to see it. They're all getting ready for the 1 hour race ahead of us at the Daytona International Speedway will be, of course, all about the draft, fuel saving, fuel strategy, pit stop strategy, who you pit with, and bringing your car cleanly to the end. Lots to see and do at the racetrack here. Don't go swimming in Lake Lloyd, but I believe you can ride the Ferris wheel. That's okay. So as we get to the grid, this is how it looks. Ryan Puchtel on pole position from Jared Collins, Lincoln Fox and Sean Fritz on row 2. Michael Chase and Ryan Carwell 5th and 6th. Dennis Daniel 7th, Zach Robertson in 8th, Andrew Huggins in 9th and Sean Roberts in 10th. Tyler Schmidt 11th, Aaron Brown in 12th, Bowie Sewin in 13th, Ian Giebler in 14th, Cameron Senhauser in 15th, ahead of Kevin Glass, Sean Sirota, Tony Alfano, Tim Wire and Nick Love. Carl Robertson in 21st with Mitch Crowther in 22nd. There's David Martin in 23rd. Steven Stoddard in 24th. Alex Albert from 25th. Logan Senhauser 26th. Curtis Lee in 27th. Alex Harrison in 28th. Will Warren in 29th. And Corey Cook in 30th. Jeffrey Rockwell in 31st, Devin Mayfield 32nd, Steve Hemetz in 33rd, Brian Tidd in 34th, Byron Hayes in 35th, Cindy Pickett 36th, Bill Salen in 37th, and it looks like Nick Love's dad, the last driver with a qualifying time in 38th. There is no qualifying time for Gareth Nyland, Matthew Martin or Levi Gaffeni. Plane taking off from Daytona Airport behind the back straight there, but the field are lined up, ready to begin the formation lap. iRacing Sedan is the pace car today at Daytona. We picked it up from a generic, non-branded rental car lot, and now it paces the field with Ryan Puchtel and Jared Collins as the front row. Every car starting the race with 30 litres of fuel on board, which is, of course, a number of gallons.
6.
Probably about 8.
Yeah, there.
So a quick look at the points after just one race completed. Lincoln Fox, the winner from Road Atlanta, leads the points. Ryan Puchtel finished second there, starts from pole here today. Things looking good for him. Kyle Robertson also very, very competitive at that first race. Jared Collins, Michael Chase, Aaron Smith, Giovanni Romano, Ian Giebler, Alex Albert and Ryan Carwile are our top 10 with one of 12 races completed.
Almost 40 TCRs coming to the green.
That's right, 1 hour on the clock. Everyone going to need to take more fuel at some stage. Into the start zone, that green flag waves and Ryan Puchtel puts the turbocharged horsepower to the ground. Beautiful, beautiful weather for racing. They'll head off the banking towards the infield. Things get a lot tighter here and there becomes less room for errors. 2 hairpins in the infield as well. Ryan Puchtel, a perfect conversion from the pole position to leading the race. He sees clear track in front of him. Everyone behind him, though, sees an opportunity at a slipstream. Field stacking up around the 4th, 5th, 6th position, and very often a big concertina effect into the first of the horseshoe hairpins, the International Horseshoe, named as such. The flag of every driver flies around the outside there, and then the West Horseshoe.
Pretty clean run for most of the field. I saw one driver slide off the track and take themselves out. I think that was Alex Harrison, quickly towed back to the pits. Only one starter from the pits today. Looks like That was Levi Goffeni. Levi Goffeni deciding to start way at the back there. Otherwise, cars are now single file as they head back up onto the banking.
This is where we become real Daytona again. Pulling in the draft of the other drivers, pulling out of the draft to make moves, racing on the banking. There's just a little bit of bump drafting going on here as well. Just ahead of Dennis Daniel, Sean Fritz just moves Michael Chase along a little bit to try to make sure he stays in contact with the leaders through the bus stop chicane, now the Le Mans chicane as it's known for the first time. You can see a bit of field spread amongst your top five.
Looked like Tony Alfano got connected with someone else, found himself in the outside wall on the exit of the chicane. He was running 18th place. He's going to be headed to the pits. We'll see it here. Not sure if that's Jean 83. That's Kevin Glass on the inside. The two of them get tangled up. Alfano's going to limp that car back to the pits, take the fast repair, but that's going to cost him a lot. Meanwhile, they're entering turn one.
Yeah, that's one lap completed and Ryan Pucktel still leads. Lincoln Fox from the left lane moved up a spot on that opening lap to be just in behind Pucktel. Jared Collins therefore back into third. Ryan Carwile made a couple of moves. Michael Chase runs in fifth, and there's a bit more drama down at turn one.
Ooh, big shunt there for the Oreo car. That's the 29, is it?
Curtis Lee and Jean Chirotta both with some damage on their cars. Bill Salen in 34th at the moment. A little bit more action on pit lane than you'd want this early in the race.
It looked like Steven Stodders, Jean Chirotta, and David there were the three involved.
So Lincoln Fox, second place at the moment, but 10 car lengths or maybe a tiny bit more behind Ryan Pucktel. Closing up a little here when we're on the banking, but not greatly.
Yeah, it's been a little more spread out at the front than I expected, Haynes. Figured these cars would be glued right next to each other, but it's been a couple car lengths, it seems, from first through to about 8th place right now.
Surgical and precise up front, a little messier behind, a little more congested back here as well. Aaron Brown, I think, might have just cut a little bit of the chicane, so he's lost a fair bit of his momentum. There's a few other drivers getting swallowed up here. Michael Chase with that toe gets a new fastest lap of the race from 5th position, so we're beginning to see it take a little bit more effect.
Tyler Schmidt was given a big push that time, and it was a fast lap, but it wasn't the fastest. Alex Harrison's just rejoining after that lap 1 incident, so he's a guy with a lot of pace, but he'll be in the middle of the lead pack. Always a tricky place to be, especially early in the race.
But he will be a lap down. This is the leaders looking at 4th place, Michael Chase. I think he has, stuck a move then on Ryan Carwile. Carwile's gone back to 5th, lost a little bit of time on the previous lap. Might have lost a bit of time going into turn 1 or through the first chicane. Braking is difficult in these cars. Everything's back to front. The car is very, very light off throttle. And then sort of when you put the power down on the exit and it pulls itself out of the corner by the front wheel drive, it sort of settles a little bit, so the braking zones are challenging. The car is very, very eager to rotate, but also eager to lock a front tyre. Soft springs in the front, stiff springs in the rear, methinks.
Yeah, and I think the thing that surprised me the most getting in these things is just how aero sensitive they are too. You know, it's a car that's going real fast. You know, they're hitting 160 on the front straight. So, you know, plenty of speed, plenty of aero downforce and you really got to manage it, kind of drive it like an aero car.
Here's Byron Hayes and Brian Tidd. So they were very close going into the chicane, now close exiting and on the banking towards the start-finish line. Hayes looks to the high side before they then drop down off the banking, braking into turn 1. A curved braking zone, really big and important braking zone from all the speed that you carry in there. And Tidd stays at the lead of this group. Head of Hayes, Jeff Rockwell, Cindy Pickett.
Yeah, Tidd fighting for position right here, third place in the Canadian podium that I keep track of. Who's leading the Australian podium there, Haynes?
Oh, well, Oscar Piastri, missed out on making a start the first 2 races, but then he was okay when he got back on the grid, and now we're in the mid-season, off-season, spring break, something. This is pretty exciting racing right here around the mid-pack. I think we're looking through 11th to 20th here. Kyle Robertson might have David Martin trying to go around the outside of him. And if you can pick up a slipstream, you could absolutely make that happen. And I think Martin moves ahead a spot.
Yeah, nicely done. Runs it a little deep though, and we'll see that that exit coming into play here because Kyle Robertson's got a better one than David. And they're 3 wide just up the road from him. If we pan that camera out a little bit, there Curtis Lee is in that Oreo car in the midst of Andrew Higgins, Ian Giebler, and Zach Robertson ahead pushing, but Curtis Lee is a lap down after that Oreo car was involved in that earlier incident, so trying to find a way to make himself out of the way.
It got twisted and dunked and then he had to dip, but he's back. The cream will rise to the top. A new fastest lap of the race, a lap ago from Michael Chase in 4th position as we have a bit of a top 4 breakaway going on. Ryan Pucktel, Lincoln Fox, Jared Collins and Michael Chase. Ryan Carwile hasn't been able to quite go with them. Dropped back to 5th place, now dropping a couple of car lengths back. As you see our top 4 continue to compress, but if they battle each other up here or they decide they don't want to make moves and they're just going to line in behind Ryan Pucktel, then Carwile could catch back up again. Sean Fritz leads the group in 6th place, and as there was a little bit of 3 wide battling happening with that group, it's condensing again between 6th to about 20th. Here's Fritz from Legitimate Racing, and they bring that livery across onto every car. So no boost, with Sean Roberts, Tyler Schmidt and Aaron Brown behind.
Yeah, you were narrating the battle there, and behind them there's a little bit of a gap forming between that group of 4 too. Looks like the Bowie Suin Dennis Daniels battle was able to slow that group down enough that they're now all stacked up. But interestingly, it kind of seems to be like a 4-person pack seems to be the optimal right now.
So this is the fastest part of the racetrack right here. You can carry a lot of speed out of the chicane through Speedway 3 and 4 onto the front straight, and then just down off that banking you begin to brake, and that's where they are at their fastest. Groups forming as you expect from racing at Daytona, and then there's contact.
Oh no, who's that?
Sean Roberts and Tyler Schmidt.
Yeah, it's a tough one here. Looks like they're coming through the S's, and really easy to get a little contact. And when you touch front tires like that, these cars are so wide in the front and pulling from the front that when the wheel gets banged like that, it's easy to just lose control.
These guys are racing for position. Alex Harrison with Curtis Lee, despite being a lap down every other car around. The two have found each other again, maybe found it a little too much of each other heading in towards turn 6 and then out onto the banking once again.
Yeah, we had a lot of new signups this week for the series, and there was a couple people in the chat wondering, will there be someone to race with? There's always someone to race with in the ChampCar iRacing series. We've got some pros, and we got a lot of guys like me, Joes, that go racing every week. So no matter how good or how bad your race is going, you'll have someone beside you.
Nick Love and Alex Albert pretty close exiting the chicane there. They've got Kevin Glass just behind them. Cameron Stenhauser, Kyle Robertson, and just ahead of them. Leaders complete another lap. Pace has stayed pretty level and consistent here amongst the top 4.
Yeah, they seem to be the only cohort that's kind of comfortable lapping in the 56s at this point. Most of the rest of the field started to drop off into the mid 57s, but these guys just have a little bit of extra. Being a bit of an aero car, these things like to be driven into the corners really deep and then kind of pivoted and planted around the corner.
Jared Collins in the Hyundai Veloster. The sheep amongst the wolves, potentially. What's otherwise an Audi leading pack.
Yeah, this is the TCR class. So you got the Audi RS3 LMS, the Hyundai Elantra, the Honda Civics, the Hyundai Velosters, and Elantras. A little surprised that the Elantra isn't the hot shoe, with it being kind of the newest car, isn't it? Or am I getting that backwards? Is it the Veloster?
Well, we're on the second gen of Audi. That's the newest car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, iRacing was good about updating the cars in their various series.
So a check-in with the other groups. Bowie Suin leading Dennis Daniel and Zach Robertson here. Kyle Robertson leading the next group with Alex Albert just behind him. That's here. Mitch Crowther with Sean Roberts and Stephen Stodder. Sean Roberts went off the road, but then rejoined and lost a lot of time. Tyler Schmidt, having been spun off from the S's here, cut the course to rejoin and has been black flagged. So even you've got to be very careful about where you rejoin from the grass here. You've got to get back to the track where you were rather than cut the infield. Side by side, heading towards the kink in the infield.
It's always tough. Sean Fritz trying to hold the outside on Aaron Brown, but Aaron's going to get it planted and give a little bump at the apex for good measure to take that spot away. That's for 6th place. But as they're battling here, they have a little gap back to Bowie Suin and Dennis Daniels, but they need to get themselves straightened out. Meanwhile, Alex Albert's leading another pack out onto the oval. He's actually our biggest gainer so far this year. 10 spots in that pink wheeled car.
So he's driving down the middle of the backstretch with Cameron Stenhauser just behind him, and then Nick Love turns in a little early. But again, you're looking to roll speed through the middle part of the corner there and maximize your exit onto the quick stuff.
These two are racing it out as they come to the line. I thought Sean Fritz might give Aaron Brown the push, but he dived out, and now they're too wide coming into the braking zone of 1. And Fritz is going to get held out to dry. Aaron Brown rolls it really nicely and takes the spot and a couple car lengths. Kind of a compromised entry to the first horseshoe though here. Makes it work though and keeps that gap. Not sure what happened in turn 1, but I heard an exclamation from Corey Cook. Wonder if we got a replay on that one. Sure enough, it looks like Cook was racing side by side with Steven Hermetz as they came across the line and took maybe got a little caught out by the braking point of Jean Sirota ahead of him. Either way, a little bit of contact between him and who did I say? Was that Steven Hermetz? Either way, has cost them both a bunch of time. And actually, I've got Hermetz with a black flag. Anyways, back further up the field. Who's this, Haynes?
Top 4. Ryan Pucktill still leading, having led every lap. Lincoln Fox having sat in second place every lap. Jared Collins and Michael Chase have gotten a little bit closer. Just a little bit. They are steadily dropping Ryan Carwile, who's no longer within the draft range of our top 4. And of course, I think Daytona and draft probably sit next to each other.
Truly.
Not synonymous, but the word association is strong. Here's David Martin around the outside of Zach Robertson. We're heading towards turn 1. Big swooping line around the outside for Martin, but is there any grip there?
It just doesn't seem like it. Martin's determined to try out all the track. He goes 2 wheels off through the S's as he's straight lining. Martin also a big gainer on the race. He's up 13 spots since the start at the 23rd, running in 10th right now with his sights forward on Zach Robertson and Dennis Daniels. He's been showing really solid pace over the last few laps. Nearly a second a lap faster than the guys ahead last time by. Wouldn't be surprised to see him take a few more before he's done. It's 40 minutes to go though. The next question is fuel. How much fuel are you burning to make all those spots?
Yeah, so we keep an eye on Giebler and Robertson and Huggins here.
Yeah, they seem nice and spread out as they approach the Le Mans chicane, but that concertina gets them all stacked up every time they get in the braking zone there. There'll be a big draft here down to turn 1. Dennis Daniels still leading the way with a few car lengths, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him 3 wide by the time we get to the stripe here. In case you're wondering, the dark green and black liveries on a few of those cars are the new Drivetrain and Motorsports liveries. They got an update for this season. Looks pretty good. 2 wide into turn 1. David Martin throws it up the inside to grab another spot, this time from Zach Robertson. 15 spots gained now for Martin. He's putting together a pretty solid race here. And I got good news for him. Sean Fritz and Aaron Brown are still fighting up the road. And they're losing a little bit of time. They were 2 wide into the first horseshoe. And they've been back and forth a number of times as they squabble over 6th and 7th place.
I've got a David Martin, Zach Robertson question for you, Devon. Would you rather a lifetime supply of liquid death or liquid molly?
Ooh. I want to say the liquid moly is going to be more expensive, but liquid death, I mean, it's a close call.
I think I'd get through more of the liquid death, even if the liquid moly is more, more expensive per unit.
You might be right about that one.
Like, you've got a problem if you're going through a quart of liquid moly every day. But if you're going through that much liquid death every day, you're well hydrated.
Yeah, sure enough. Oh, we've been watching those two. The guys behind have gotten themselves all stacked up again. That's Alex Albert bringing up the back of the pack that includes Robertson, Giebler, Suen, and Zach Robertson. Kyle and Zach in the same group.
Here's your favourites again. Sean Fritz is on the high side, but Aaron Brown is down low with the inside for turn 1. Doesn't discourage Sean Fritz from being very, very brave, but I think Aaron Brown's just got him covered through 1 for the moment.
I'm getting word from the pit reporter that we've got a couple guys in there too. Bowie Suen and Zach Robertson looking what appears to be scheduled service. Maybe deciding the drama in that little pack they were in was too much for them. We'll get our first idea of how much service these guys will need. These are air-jacked cars, I believe. And it looks like Suen takes a little bit less than Robertson does and beats him out onto track. Avoid talking numbers until after the get on the pit lane or pit cycle here, but relatively quick looking stops compared to a few that we've seen.
Still got Puxel leading the way from Fox and Collins. Michael Chase dropped about a second back 1.5 laps ago. So despite holding fastest lap of the race, he is not quite connected to the leading group. Ryan Carwile has dropped away from the leading group as well when that happened to him. So almost looking like then there were 3. There's Carwile just now. And then the next group where Brown and Fritz have been battling aplenty.
Continues. We're watching Robertson hitting the pit lane, but Aaron Brown and Sean Fritz are still side by side in turn 1. We see him again. This seems to be the only line they know through the S's. Fritz tries to squeeze it, but has the car kind of set up wrong on the entry, and Aaron Brown rolls a lot more speed, and so the inside line's going to have the faster exit this time. They'll be too wide through the kink, and they keep doing this. This is a little spooky no matter what car you're doing it in.
Entertainment for the infield spectators. Here's a bit of a cross over under, exiting the Western Horseshoe, heading towards turn 6. Aaron Brown and the Audi ahead for the moment.
You know, the TCRs get a bit of a bad rap because they're front-wheel drive cars, but I think that the racing in these things really shows through. You know, it's always really quality, really close, and yeah, I think the new tire model's done this thing a lot of favors too. So if you haven't tried it out in a while, I'd encourage folks to give it a shot. Oh, and a little punt there from Fritz as they come in hot. I think that Aaron's going to get a slowdown as a result of that. Yeah.
He will. Dennis Daniel and David Martin are at speed in this group just behind. Got to be careful, but your leaders are coming in. The whole top 3 are in. Puxel, Fox, Collins, Michael Chase follows them in as well. Ryan Carwile, likewise.
And good news for Fritz in all, or sorry, Brown and all that is that because this is the pit window, he's able to clear that black flag before hitting the pit lane without losing too much at all. So it's suddenly a very busy pit lane. You see them all swarming down.
It's everybody. I'm waiting for someone to stay out. What you're seeing there is the drivers getting their lap back, Alex Harrison and Curtis Lee. So that wasn't drivers that hadn't stopped yet. Everyone who hadn't stopped yet is stopping. And in the race off the lane, Ryan Puckdell still wins it. Fox and Collins were super, super close there on the exit. They're all very close on pit exit. We're going to get the reverse concertina when they get going again, though. And Michael Chase and Ryan Carwile keeping their positions.
And Fox has done a foxy strategy, getting out of there with a little bit less fuel than everyone else. Oh, a little bit of contact in the pit lane. I think that was Fritz finding outside wall. By the time they get off the pit limiter, everything's going to be cleared up, but that might affect the aerodynamics a little bit. Ian Giebler and Alex Albert lining up behind. Cold tires in these things are a factor. And that exit on the pit road is so narrow. Seen a couple of the Drivetrainer Motorsports guys going too wide behind that. Got Kyle Robertson clearing away as Bowie Suin is on the outside.
Ryan Puckdell is still your race leader. Lincoln Fox has gained a spot through the race start, kept it through the pit stops, just ahead of Jared Collins. They've ended up even further ahead of Michael Chase. Chase and Carwile might end up connected together for 4th and 5th. It doesn't look like they are going to be part of this leading trio, with the pit stops now done for everyone.
Yeah, we're watching the battle between Giebler and Fritz now, but that shows you just how far down Fritz fell, despite having pretty comparable pit lane stopped time. That little snafu on the exit has cost him a fair bit, almost 3 seconds by the stopwatch.
Never a boring minute for Sean Fritz. Now he's got Alex Albert and Ian Giebler challenging for his position. Ian Giebler couldn't take it. Lost out in the end there to Alex Albert, who'll now be the driver in behind Sean Fritz. Aaron Brown, though, you can call him a winner out of all of this because he's ended up now a couple of seconds ahead of Fritz.
Yeah, he's managed to clear off. If he can run some clean laps and clear air, he might even be able to connect himself to the next pack up the road. On the other side of things, David Martin, who's lapping in, what is that, 11th place now, has lost a little bit in the pit lane. He took one of the longest stops that we saw, 30 seconds for him. Most of the other folks were around 27. And that was all stationary time. So must have burnt a little bit of extra fuel, or maybe calculated with a little bit of extra relative to the rest of the field. Wouldn't be the first time that a Champ Car race goes one lap longer than expected, though, so we'll see if that pays off for him. Now we're watching Cameron Senhauser and Tim Wire. Cameron and Logan locking up bumpers. And showing how to do it right, you know? Give a little bit of space to the guy that you're bump drafting in the braking zone. David Martin jumps to the top of the track, pushing hard. He's managed to catch himself a penalty for going off track. So I'll have to give back some time before the start-finish line here.
Ryan Puckdell has led every second of this race so far. But what he's never had is a race lead of more than a second. Got Lincoln Fox 4/10 behind him. Jared Collins about 3/10 behind that. It closes up, particularly at the very end of the straights and sometimes into some of the braking zones. Michael Chase and Ryan Carwile have got together, 4th and 5th just here, so that's perhaps disappointing for Chase, but for Ryan Carwile, he's finally no longer an island of one. Aaron Brown is that for 6th place, where he's shed himself of Sean Fritz, but there's a couple of quick drivers there that might make the back half of this race interesting for him. Dennis Daniel charging around. Alex Albert and Ian Giebler up some spots so far in this race as well. Contractually required Honda love there in 8th, 9th and 10th.
Yeah, they're owning that. Back in turn 1, we got our leaders coming up on some lap traffic here. They got John Sirota just ahead of them, but it's Puckdill, Fox, and Collins. And these three last year frequently found themselves battling over second place when Michael Polasek was coming out. This year with the opportunity to sort of reverse those fortunes, and the three of them were all competitors for the overall points championship, and the same is true again. I want to say last year Puckdill and Collins were 2nd and 3rd in the overall points. Lincoln Fox had some really strong finishes, but didn't end up completing enough races to be ranked in the overall.
Here's the action. Zach Robertson in 12th. Gets a bit deep into the Western Horseshoe, and Bowie Sue and I think Andrew Huggins follow suit. David Martin pops down the inside, gains a couple of spots. Sean Roberts also moving around in the background there, looking to get past Huggins in the Honda.
Yeah, I think if we were doing driver of the day voting, my vote might be with David Martin right now. He's certainly having one of the most exciting nights of the day, or nights of the race.
So the Death and the Molly are back together again.
Albert's giving a big push to Robertson as we head down into turn 1. And they're too wide, too deep behind him. Zach falling in line behind Martin, and Bowie Suin and Sean Roberts lining up, but not for long. Sean Roberts sends it into the horseshoe and makes it look good next to the Ferris wheel. That'll be 15th place for him.
Through the Western Horseshoe with this group. David Martin getting to the front of it. Zach Robertson ahead of Sean Roberts making some spots. Bowie Suin and then Andrew Huggins. Next group behind's those Sennhauser brothers that have been bump drafting each other, and I think it's been helping them make a little bit of progress, but not as much as the battling from the group in front going side by side through the corners has been helping these guys catch up just a little bit. Here's Michael Chase and Ryan Carwile together.
Yeah, so for those trying to get an overall picture of the race, we got the top three nose to tail. We've got Michael Chase and Ryan Carwile here in 4th and 5th. Aaron Brown running all alone, and then Dennis Daniels and Sean Fritz in 7-8. There's action kind of all the way up and down the field right now. It's really hard to keep track of it all. This is our leaders' top three coming out onto the tri-oval. After this pack of three, there's about 8 seconds to that 4th and 5th place group. And then about another 10 to 12 to that 7th, 8th place group. We'll try and keep an eye on at least the top 10 as we come here to the start-finish line, but I promise you, these TCRs are keeping it interesting everywhere. This is the 33 of Aaron Brown, perhaps having the most quiet race of anyone in the field. He was kind of all alone after losing Sean Fritz in the pit stop, and he's managed to just find kind of a comfortable rhythm, about a 10th faster than the guys behind.
Well, I think Dennis Daniel, and on average here, they've been catching him a little bit. Certainly not a comfortable lead that he's got ahead of Daniel and Fritz.
And they're coming up on some lap traffic. This will be Cindy Pickett on the outside. Aaron takes the long way around, but he likes it more probably than the two behind. Fritz and Daniels have to take a little bit of evasive action. And that lets Fritz take the spot away from Daniels.
And Giebler gets a little bit closer. He's picked up his pace, leaving Kyle Robertson and Alex Albert behind. Speaking of, another move from David Martin.
Yeah, our two big gainers of the race are now locked in it with about 20 minutes to go.
So when does something happen here? Pucktel, Fox and Jared Collins have been like this since before the pit stops, since after the pit stops, since almost every lap of this race now.
You know, Fox has been quick. He ran a 56.9 last time by, which would be the quickest lap of the race if it didn't include an off track. He's looking really comfortable. And he did have one of the shortest stops. I think he might be saving a little bit extra and holding track position at this point. But it's It's a spicy one at the front here. They've been holding position, but they're not slow by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, they're the only guys that are kind of running low 57s right now. Rest of the field's tires are getting a little hot. Track's getting a little slower, and we're seeing 58s, low 58s kind of being the norm. Anyone who's driven Daytona knows that 158 on the road course or 156 on the road course is not walking. What's a TCR? 330 horse? Thereabouts?
Yeah, I thought they were about 350.
So they're moving.
This top three have moved 10 seconds clear of everyone else, with Michael Chase ahead of Ryan Carwile still in 4th and 5th. Brown in 6th place has seen them battle behind him. And it means that Sean Fritz, the old sparring partner, might get a look at him. Dennis Daniel lost a little bit of time. Has Ian Giebler right behind. Kyle Robertson last spot in the top 10. And David Martin, Sean Roberts, Alex Albert, great battle there. David Martin working his way through the field maybe a couple of times.
Albert's getting real close on Roberts on the first turn.
Yeah, now there's some different lines for braking and turning in. For the slow corners, some drivers will go out sort of really wide and turn in super late because of the way the traction works in a front-wheel drive car.
Yeah, well, and I was going to say, we were talking just a minute ago about, the top three and Fox and, what maybe the back half of the podium is doing. And something I'd say is that these TCRs can be hard to pass in if no one's making any mistakes. If someone gives you, even a half width of a car and you can get a bumper on them or you can get real close to them and get some draft, there's a lot of racing possibility. But with these guys at the front, no one's putting a wheel wrong. I mean, Puchtel seems to gain a couple car lengths out of the Le Mans chicane every time, and that's such a critical corner, in the finishing order of this race, that unless Lincoln or Collins can figure something out here, I think they're going to be hard pressed to put a move on him on the final lap, unless they do it down into turn one. Or get some track position a little bit sooner. I think Puchtel realized that Polasek was so strong in these TCRs last year. It kind of looks to me like he's put some effort in to this, and he said he wanted to take the top step on the podium next year, and he's working hard for it right now. Was that some headlights flashing there, Haynes?
There's plenty of it from Lincoln Fox. I don't know precisely what it's about, but they are catching to put Harrison and Cook, or at least Cook, a lap down.
So say, I think that's one of those intimidation tactic flashes, maybe not quite as effective at noon Daytona. But hey, with a little bit of cloud cover, it might work, You never know.
I get anxious seeing them leap that final curb in the chicane every time. It doesn't look good or healthy. does it look
Yeah.
fast is always the question.
Exactly. I was going to say it certainly helping Pucktel out a little bit this time, and he's got Curtis Lee giving him some draft. The TCRs in the simulator fortunately don't have to deal with repetitive impacts, weakening parts, that sort of thing. Ooh, Lincoln Fox cuts a really nice line that time. But still doesn't seem to be able to quite get off the corner the way that Pucktel does.
There's all the flags. I can spot yours. I don't know if I can spot mine. I'm sure it's there.
Well, I'm pretty sure. Back in the West Horseshoe, we got Ian Giebler watching a spirited battle between who else? Aaron Brown and Sean Fritz. As those two old foes have found themselves back together. And you called it. Sean Fritz showing just a little bit more pace at this phase of the race than Brown is. Averaging a few tenths a lap faster. Last time by critically almost a second faster. So maybe a little bit of a mistake from Aaron Brown puts him back into the grasps of Sean Fritz. And not too far ahead of Ian Giebler and Dennis Daniels. So our top 10 is pretty much all in contact with each other. Can't just drive around at the pointy end of the field. And this wind we were talking about in the pre-race is really blowing the clouds around. You got cloud cover in the Le Mans chicane, but you've got sunshine in the infield on the same lap. You see it blowing overhead. Ian Giebler, you can always tell him in the crowd because he's got that riced out set of wheels on that Honda Civic. And Sean Fritz and Aaron Brown are going to try too wide into the first turn once again.
Take 10 this time around. So Fritz tries to go around the outside. Now maybe try to tuck his nose down low. That's very wide from Dennis Daniel in turn 1.
Yeah, I'd say maybe found a little bit of marble, or maybe missed the breaking point a little bit on that one. Yeah, I have this feeling that Sean Fritz and Aaron Brown is going to come down to a drag race to the line. Because going sector by sector, they were pretty much identical right until that final sector where Fritz gets that little advantage from the draft and comes flying at him.
As this happens, Ian Giebler gets much closer to them. Lincoln Fox has gotten a little bit closer to Ryan Pucktel in the race lead. Now just 10 minutes to go and a little bit of change. There will be 6 more laps, and finally we're starting to see this one shape up a little bit more. They're beginning to throw a little bit of those sparring jabs. Pucktel defends into the international horseshoe as Lincoln Fox is as close as ever.
Yeah, starting to look a little racy. It's been very, very quiet out front. But we're seeing Fox just trying out some alternate lines. And with this many cars circulating out here, I mean, track temp is a real thing in the iRacing simulator. So there might be a little bit more grip available offline if you go looking for it.
Now, I'm not aware that anyone owes anyone else any favors here. I think it's all three of them for the win. Not like Jared Collins owes Lincoln Fox one, or they all owe Ryan Puchtel one, or anything that I'm aware of. So Jared Collins is also watching this, trying to shape up. Could it get much closer than 3 wide coming across the start-finish line with 5 laps to go? No, I don't think it could. Ryan Puchtel, Lincoln Fox, and Jared Collins have taken almost 55 minutes to get to this point. But the gloves are laced up. They're warmed up. And once it becomes for victory and for points in the ChampCar iRacing series, these drivers who are so patient and meticulous, moving their pawns around, getting their queen in the right position, are now going to go for checkmate with 5 laps to go.
Yeah, and Kevin Collins is putting his accurate TSX skills to the test here, as he tries to find his spot on the podium.
Ryan Carwile's got ahead of and dropped Michael Chase at some point, and then in 6th place Sean Fritz is ahead of Aaron Brown. Ian Giebler gets ever closer. It looks like Fritz has moved his way up into 6th. It'll be a tough thing to hold on to in these final laps. Dennis Daniels ahead of David Martin, Kyle Robertson, Sean Roberts, and Alex Albert. There's Robertson with a tight exit from turn 6 onto the banking. Weird corner exit because it opens up so much, and the banking kicks in on the exit that, well, it's on the map almost a hairpin. You've only got to worry about the first half of it, and the second half of it takes care of itself. Onto the speedway. It's close for the leaders once more. Rinse and repeat of a lap ago. This time Lincoln Fox really is looking around the outside for turn 1, but Ryan Puchtel holds the lead of the race. But Lincoln Fox led across the line. Tiny bit of traffic for them now.
Yeah, still trying to go too wide is Puchtel, or is Fox. As they make their way past Will Warren.
So Ryan Puchtel has no longer led every single lap of the race because Lincoln Fox was fractionally ahead at the line that time and led the lap, which I'm sure will be very interesting to Lincoln Fox coming to the very, very final lap of the race, that's possible. Five minutes to go. Lincoln Fox looking for back-to-back wins to kick off 2026. Ryan Puchtel looking for the first win of the year.
Ooh. That door was slammed shut. But that's 2 friendly green cars there in that pack. Dennis Daniels and Kyle Robertson, both drive trainer guys. got to think that if the guy in front has a choice, he might pick the green guy in his mirrors when he's deciding who gets a draft. Meanwhile, back at the front, they're going again.
Yeah, Pucktel led at the end of this lap, and they think there'll be 3 more to go. Jared Collins watching on as it plays out between the Audis just in front of him.
Yeah, Pucktel's doing a really good job of just picking the defensive lines and kind of making it hard for anything to go around the outside, but we're watching it in second, or a little deeper in the field here. This is Daniels now, actually losing out to David Martin, who takes 9th place away, and Daniels is going to lose 10th to Robertson around the outside here. And just a shaggy couple of corners for Daniels costs him 3 spots. Oh, a little tap there we saw just as the camera panned away. Everyone points the right way, though. We're back on our leaders.
So by the clock, this should be coming to 2 to go. Shouldn't be the white flag just yet. The exit of the bus stop chicane is by de facto the final corner of the lap, and you are flat out all the way to the line here. Lincoln Fox pulls out of the tow. Jared Collins follows suit. First across the line there, this time Ryan Pucktel, no white flag waving. 2 more laps of Daytona International Speedway road course. But across the line, it was Ryan Pucktel by just 14 thousandths of a second.
Now, it looked to me like Collins might have lifted before the bump draft came, or was given to Lincoln Fox, but I think that could be a deciding factor. 2 to go here. And I think if you're the guy running in 3rd place, you want to see a little chaos ahead of you. I'd be giving that bump. Speaking of chaos, we got Aaron Brown up the inside on Ian Giebler. And Sean Fritz and Brown are still at it, albeit with a 3rd dance partner. And then they're keeping things interesting. Just behind them, Kyle Robertson and Aaron Brown are still, and David Martin are going at it as well. Robertson looking a little more comfy at this point in the race. Might be able to make a move here. But David Martin's been strong all day long too.
Yeah, Martin's picked off a few here, but now he runs wide at the West Horseshoe. Kyle Robertson goes up into 9th, David Martin back into 10th. These two had dropped that group of Daniel and Roberts behind, but now they lose a little bit. David Martin drops back just a tiny bit. There's less than a minute left. The white flag will wave this time, and then the checkered thereafter, and we'll see who can take round 2 of the ChampCar iRacing Series in 2026 between Ryan Pucktel, Lincoln Fox, and Jared Collins. Again, side by side to take the white flag. There is nothing in it, and now it's do or die for Lincoln Fox, for Jared Collins. Ryan Pucktel's led almost every lap. They've been strategizing how to stop him. He runs wide in turn 1. Lincoln Fox to the lead of the race. Jared Collins into 2nd, and Ryan Pucktel is back into 3rd. Is this tactical masterclass, or has he stood on his own foot at the last moment?
Oh, it looked like he got it all wrong. "59 minutes of perfect racing, and on the final lap, he finds himself in 3rd place. Lots of traffic up ahead, though."
Yeah, just a little bit to worry Lincoln Fox, the new race leader. Jared Collins up into 2nd. Not to worry, though. Lincoln Fox knows where the headlight flasher button is in the Audi cockpit. So Ryan Pucktel from 3rd, running out of options to get back to the race win. Lincoln Fox tracking towards back-to-back race wins. Jared Collins just in behind. Anxious, nervy moment for them though. Approaching the bus stop chicane. It's too wide in front. They clear the first Veloster. They get balked by the second. Lincoln Fox backs them up in the middle of the corner, trying to get a clean exit to the line. Jared Collins right underneath his rear wing. Ryan Puchtel with a bit of momentum there. So it's all about the gearing and the slipstream. The checkered flag awaits. Jared Collins is still a car length back, but closing. Off the banking of Speedway 4, he fans out, having to go round the outside of Lincoln Fox, side by side, banging doors, 3 lanes in effect, and Jared Collins wins from Lincoln Fox and Ryan Puchtel. Timed to perfection, the Hyundai Veloster takes round 2.
Nice stuff from Jared Collins, but the race isn't over. Deeper in the field, Ryan Carwile is coming to the line all alone, but Michael Chase, with Michael Chase behind, Sean Fritz and Aaron Brown are battling as we knew they would, and like we called 20 laps ago, it's going to be a drag race to the line for them. But Ian Giebler's in the picture here now too. It might be 3 at the line as they go over for 6th, 7th, and 8th. Kyle Robertson's going to cross the line in the background with a 9th place finish for Drive Trainer Motorsports after getting away from David Martin. Sean Roberts and Dennis Daniels are side by side coming into the final turn. They're 3 wide behind there. Contact as they cross the line. Alex Albert holds on to 14th place. And that's Logan Senhauser and Cameron Senhauser just behind. I think it was Cameron outside. In the outside wall, we got Tim Wire hitting the line. Nick Love coming to the finish line as well. Few more cars a little further back. We got Tony Alfano and Mitch Crowther. Crowther has made his debut race. I think it might actually be for Tony Alfano as well. We'll have to double check that. But either way, coming to the line, quality finish for the 2 of them. And Steven Stodder is one of our final racers on the lead lap. I think we've got Kevin Glass and Jeffrey Rockwell yet to come. The 2 of them have just crossed the line. Kevin Glass winning the Canadian portion of the race.
Well, we get our top 3 in less than a 1/10 of a second. Daytona delivers in every category. But for Jared Collins, he takes his first win of the year. Lincoln Fox, 2nd place. Ryan Puchtel, after leading so many laps, runs wide in turn 1 on the final lap, then can't get back to the lead. He gets 3rd. There's Ryan Carwile and Michael Chase. Aaron Brown from 12th on the grid to 6th. Some late moves ahead of Sean Fritz, Ian Giebler, Kyle Robertson, and Dennis Daniel. Fritz, Ian, yep. And then it was Sean Roberts in 11th, Dennis Daniel in 12th. Andrew Huggins, Alex Albert, Cameron Senhauser, Logan Senhauser, Zach Robertson, Tim Wire, Nicholas Love, and Tony Alfano. Then Mitchell Crowther in 21st. Steven Stodder, Byron Hayes, Kevin Glass, Jeffrey Rockwell, Steve Hermetz, Alex Harrison, Will Warren, Curtis Lee, Sean Sirota, Bowie Sue and Cindy Pickett, Levi Goffeni, Brian Tidd, Love Senior, Corey Cook, Bill Salen, Tyler Schmidt, Devin Mayfield, Gareth Nyland and Matthew Martin didn't take the start of the race. Being a 31-lap race, 16 completed will get you towards being in the prize draw. Bill Salen, unfortunately, just 15 completed in 37th place. Corey Cook completed 29 laps, though, in 36th. Well, the race winner is going to join us, Devon. why don't you have a chat with Jared Collins?
Well, Jared, that was a quality race. It looked like you were settling for third on the podium until the very end.
Yeah, that was a wild last couple of laps, or the last lap in particular was that was insane. I knew, with this car you burn off the front tires so much. We had a good gap behind, so I was like, man, I'll just kind of ride for a while and hope I can save the fronts. And then I knew on the last lap that second place had the best chance because you get the big run out of the bus stop. And I didn't know how I was going to get there, to be honest. I was pretty, I gave Lincoln a push to try and hope they'd go, somebody would make a mistake into one. And yeah, Ryan ended up going a little deep and was able to over under him. And then, through the bus stop, we caught some traffic, which, that killed Lincoln's momentum. And I was able to get a better run off the bus stop and through the draft, and then just was able to ride it all the way to the finish, man.
Oh man, it was awesome from up here. I can't imagine how good it was feeling from down there.
I'm on cloud nine. I was going nuts.
Yeah, we were watching Lincoln Fox flashing the lights in turns 1 and 2 on the banking, and thinking he might have had it locked up, but no, that was impressive stuff. It looked like an interesting race, a really measured race from you guys out front for most of the session.
Yeah, I think, Ryan was setting a really good pace, a really comfortable pace. And it kind of felt like, if we didn't battle too much, we could kind of walk away. I thought, Michael Chase and Ryan might be able to stick on, but they fell back a little bit after the pit stops. And then it was, all right, let's just kind of ride and stretch this out and make it a battle for the podium in the last couple laps. And yeah, the three of us played really nice together for 95% of the race, and then all had a shot on the last lap.
It was good stuff, man. With 2 races in, that means I think you've got second place. It's going to be close between you and Fox. I'm not sure my points have updated quite yet, but I mean, 3rd place last season in the points. You thinking about those points already this point in the season? Oh,
for sure, absolutely. I mean, I think just keep racking up podiums, hopefully, running the front and let the cards land. I think we're all kind of looking over our shoulder a little bit. I think Polasek might be coming back in a couple of races. So I think everybody's trying to rack up as much points as possible before he gets here. And hopefully, get a little bit of a buffer and make something happen by the end of the year.
Okay, I got one last question for you. I gotta know, did the Integra skills come out tonight? Is that what this is?
Yes, absolutely. The front wheel drive Integra skills definitely helped. This car, it's kind of backwards, right? You got to be really patient on the throttle. And honestly, I've been using ChampCar or the iRacing sim more to train for ChampCar, as far as, that's my weakness, is I try to get on the gas too fast and it washes out. And so I've actually spent a lot of time this past winter running the TCR, trying to get more comfortable so I can transfer those skills, to ChampCar in the real world, and hopefully not stand on the gas too quick coming out of the corners and go a little bit quicker.
Oh, I've driven my fair share of front wheel drives. I know all about roasting that inside tire. That was quality stuff, man. Thanks for putting on a great show, and for taking one step closer to a big old prize.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Hope I'll be talking to you guys again in the coming weeks. That was a lot of fun.
Cheers.
Awesome to hear the enthusiasm in the voice of our race winner. And yes, you won't have to wait too long for the next dose of ChampCar iRacing series. We have the schedule, I'm led to believe.
Well, at least one of the guys does. I'm sure. Who can click fast enough? There you go. Round 3 will be in your homeland, David Haynes. How could you forget?
I hadn't forgotten. I just needed a great visual tool to help explain the 2026 ChampCar iRacing series. That's right. April 29th at Phillip Island, back in the MX-5. Thinking that one will be pretty popular. And then every track in green is a great way to use the ChampCar iRacing series to practice for the racetracks that the ChampCar Endurance Series is going to. Our absolute favourites, like Watkins Glen, Sebring, VIR, Mid-Ohio, Road America, and 2026 Lime Rock Park and COTA.
How long till we get a ChampCar race at Phillip Island, Haynes? That's what everyone wants to know.
I'd have to win several lotteries, and yeah, a few things that have to happen and line up for me and the world. But yeah, you can look forward to that. And then at the end of the year, mark this one in your calendars. Get your teammates together. The Team Enduro Championship. This will be 3-hour races for 2 driver teams in the Toyota GR86, Daytona, Laguna Seca, VIR, and COTA. So many great prizes to be won, but also, as you've seen today, great racing to be had, skills to be sharpened, and yeah, I guess glory to be a part of.
Oh, you gotta love some good Wednesday night glory, David.
Fantastic. Our congratulations go to the podium. What a show they put on. Jared Collins, Lincoln Fox, and Ryan Pucktel. Lincoln Fox still leads the championship. Jared Collins has moved himself into second. We'll see you at Phillip Island for round 3 of the ChampCar iRacing series.